Hello, everyone, and welcome. We will get started in just another minute. People are slowly getting on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us. Today we're doing Managing Your Finances in the Cloud with Chadwick Farrell with Intuit QuickBooks. Chadwick, it's all yours.
All right. Can everyone hear me okay?
I can.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Hello, everyone. We'll get the I'll go a little slow through my introduction. That way, in case we have any slower people joining the call, they can. So just to kind of introduce myself, my name is Chadwick. I am a key accounts account manager with Intuit, right? So what I do is I manage partnerships like United Servicers Association, those types of things, to help their members get the most out of Intuit and our products, mostly QuickBooks, right? So we'll go through some things today, some product highlights of, managing your finances with the cloud-based version of QuickBooks Online, those types of things. So we'll go ahead and kind of start diving into that. We'll cover some of the new technology, what QuickBooks Online offers, why it's a little bit more efficient, those types of things. There we go. All right, so a little bit about me. I've been with Intuit 8 years now. I am based out of our Reno, Nevada office, which is our payroll home site, if you will. So all things payroll with QuickBooks is handled out of our Reno site. But I do work with national accounts, those types of things. I have 2 daughters. You'll see their silly little pictures there. Abigail's 15, Rebecca's 14. So as you guys can imagine, that's a bit of a challenge these days. And I come from, prior to Intuit, owning several small businesses myself. So I'm very passionate around helping small businesses thrive. I'm very empathetic to the challenges that small entrepreneurs have, from managing their finances to, employees and that type of stuff. So Intuit was a really good fit for me because Intuit is very passionate about helping small businesses thrive and be successful as well through technology changes, right? As you guys can imagine, the technology available today in your phone is about 500 times more powerful than a computer that you owned 10 or 15 years ago. It's amazing what technology has done to advance small businesses, from digital marketing to bookkeeping to cloud-based. A small business now can present and do the same type of business infrastructures and that type of stuff as the big guys like Intuit, right? You have the same web portal capabilities, all of that type of stuff. So we're just going to go through how some of that can help you guys with your bookkeeping these days. So what I have here, hopefully you guys can see it, is I'll have a little video that we're going to play. And it's going to give you kind of a good idea of how things have changed. And you'll notice the guy's using a hammer to change the tire. So something to keep in mind with these videos is, right, it's still a car. It's got an engine. It's got 4 wheels. Maintenance is pretty much the same, right? You have to change the tires, you have to put gas in it, that type of stuff. So from the base, technology, it's the same, right? Cars today still pretty much function the exact same way cars back then did. 4 wheels, engine, brakes, fuel, right?
Hey, Chadwick.
Yes,
Some people are having problems hearing you. I can hear you, but they aren't. Did you hit any buttons when you played the video?
I did not.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'm broadcasting, so you can, I'm not sure why you would be able to hear them and not me, or not them.
I don't either. Let me see. I'm doing some digging.
Can you guys hear me now that the video stopped?
I'm sending a chat asking if they can. Okay, he's saying hit reconnect. Okay, go ahead. You can continue, Chadwick.
Okay. So that was slide 1, if you guys can hear me. That was slide 1. That kind of shows, old technology. Kind of to what I was saying is it's, base technology is, 4 cars, engine, all that type of stuff. That's what it used to be like. And nowadays, how things have changed. So same type of concept, right? It's a pit crew. It's that type of stuff, right? So what we'll notice here is technology, more people working for you, that type of stuff. So we'll go ahead and play this, and we'll see what the differences are. All right. So you guys will notice, right? Can everyone hear me? Let's see if everyone can hear me. Sarah, do you have any updates? Hello?
They're good. They can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
You're good.
So sorry if you guys couldn't hear the audio. There's not a whole lot of audio on the videos anyway. It was just more of a representation to show you guys, old technology, same concept as a car. You had to change the tires, you had to put fuel in it, that type of stuff. But as you noticed by the video, it took significantly longer than it does today because, pit crews have updated the technology, the cars, that type of stuff. So these same principles can be applied to small businesses and the amount of time that you use, to keep track of your finances versus, an Excel spreadsheet versus QuickBooks Desktop versus QuickBooks Online, those types of things, right? So now what we're going to get into is kind of how that technology can help you and what it means for general business, those types of things, okay? So you'll see here, a little slide, this talks about the emerging technology. When asked, what technology is most measurable impact for businesses in 2019, 74% of tech CFOs said cloud computing, right? Cloud computing has the biggest impact on businesses today. And if you kind of break that down, it's the internet, it's artificial intelligence, some virtual reality things, the way that finances and blockchain and different cryptocurrencies, those types of things. So you guys just really kind of get the handle of how the modern technology of cloud-based computing, internet, artificial intelligence, machine learning is really starting to be the most impactful things for small businesses and large businesses, right? This kind of goes to, from a hardware perspective, things have changed over the years, right? We all know now we carry a smartphone, but, 10 years ago, it was a flip phone and there wasn't internet. And, if you sent someone a picture, you couldn't video chat, those types of things. So you'll see here kind of how things have started to change to where smartphones and tablets now make up for 49% of small businesses' primary devices. Laptops and desktops are still prominent, but it's not 100% anymore. So more and more people are conducting business through their smartphone, right? They're driving down the road, they're talking to customers, they're emailing, all of those types of things. They're putting together proposals, everything, invoicing, it kind of covers it all, right? And you'll see down here, it just talks about that a little bit more. The smartphone nowadays is becoming the number one tool, right? And then we get into out of hardware, we just talked about smartphones, desktops, that type of stuff. Now it goes to accounting. What's the number one accounting solution for businesses or software? The number one software is accounting, right? Next is payments, being able to receive credit cards, because as we all know, hardly anybody uses cash or check anymore, right? It's almost 100% debit or credit card for a lot of stuff. Right? And then you kind of go down it, you see marketing, you see your CRM, your point of sale systems, payroll, legal, HR, that type of stuff. So the number one software that people are spending most of their time on is accounting, right? And then payments, in my opinion, you can almost stack that on top of accounting for a lot of people because it falls under that, where's my money? All right. So kind of going on to that, the average small business users, online for, 4 hours a day, what are they doing with this time that they're on? 65% of that time is back-end office work. They're checking their bank statements. They're looking at their credit cards. They're sending invoices. They're receiving accounts receivable. They're paying, accounts payable, that type of stuff. So this time really adds up for the small business that's, an average of 4 hours a day. Now, what QuickBooks is really striving to is to give you some of that time back so that you can do more with sales and those types of things and not spending most of your time back end. You want it to be, hours of your day to be primarily revenue producing hours, right? So how we've done that is we've started going to cloud-based accounting systems, right? Where you can take advantage of all the automation and the, artificial intelligence, the Google Cloud services, all of those types of things. And while doing that, reduce some of your costs, right? Now, maybe not specifically QuickBooks cost, but other tools cost. By using QuickBooks as a primary tool, you may not need to log me in or go to my PC anymore, right? You don't need big server platforms or hardware platforms, those types of things to handle multi-location or, multi-service reps industries. Right? And this just kind of talks to a little bit more about why you'd move to the cloud, right? Data production, 44 times faster today than what it was 10 years ago, right? 90% of the world's data is created within the last couple of years with online, and that's only going to grow and grow and grow. So what this means for you guys is you now have access to a bunch of this other data that's out there in the world to make your processes faster, right? And we're going to talk here in a little bit about how Intuit uses this data and machine learning to reduce virtually eliminate your data entry for financing. Okay, just kind of a little bit more about it. No servers, less headaches. You guys don't have to manage anything locally. Anytime, anywhere, access for your, devices, whether it's a tablet, a smartphone, PC, Mac, it doesn't matter. So it's much more convenient, right? Now, a lot of people get into the security of it. Statistically speaking, websites are 10 times more secure than your local hard drive, right? If you have your laptop in your car, somebody steals your laptop, they can easily get into your data, right? If you're at Starbucks and you're sending and receiving stuff across their local network, that type of stuff, right? They can hack in and get into your hard drive, those types of things. So this is one of the things that we hear the most, but it is more secure. All right, so now we're going to talk about QuickBooks specifically and how we use some of this data to make your guys' life easier, right? By having a strong artificial intelligence and machine learning built into QuickBooks Online, we can significantly reduce all of your input, both from a keyed in as well as the errors that happen with that, right? A good example of that is when you sync it up with your bank account and your bank statement says VZ, wireless, Verizon wireless on there, that type of stuff. QuickBooks automatically knows that this is, a cell phone utility expense. So it automatically categorizes it in QuickBooks based on you saying, once or twice, this is what it is, but then from then on, it'll automatically do it. So QuickBooks has really become more of a review and approve than I need to sit down and enter in what I spent with Verizon this week and that type of stuff. Okay, and here's another video or a little pop-up. I don't think there's any sound with it, but we'll watch some of the stuff and it'll go through what I was just talking about. All right, so this kind of highlights, and I'll talk a little bit more about this. So what this basically is explaining is that when something on your credit card or something on your bank statement comes into QuickBooks because you've synced it up with it, because almost everything, all financial institutions have an online banking portal, right? You can connect that up with QuickBooks Online. And when there's a charge from the local pottery barn that's down the street, when that comes into QuickBooks, QuickBooks will know what it is and how it should be categorized because there's probably 1,000 other small businesses in your local town that have entered it in. So we know by what everyone else is doing, oh, this is, for office supplies, that type of stuff. So once again, this is where it becomes extremely efficient for you as individuals because we're unlocking all the data from everyone else, right? Now that data is not, Bob's Chicken and Steakhouse spent $40 at the Barrel Barn and whatnot. It's just general information about vendor types, right? So this is where we get into that auto matching the expenses. Now this on average for someone that is using QuickBooks Desktop frees up about 11 hours a month of data entry and finance management, right? QuickBooks learns and categorizes this number instead of 70 is actually 85% now, and will only continue to grow as more and more people start using QuickBooks Online and more vendors are put into our system, those types of things. So you can see this really starts to save you guys time and energy, right? The byproduct of that time and energy and everything kind of happening so fast is you guys at any given moment can get a true understanding of the state of your company, right? Whether it's from a profit or, hey, this is how much money we spent in the last week on fuel, those types of things, right? So you guys can get much quicker feedback on the state of your company and therefore manage future decisions more rapidly and start making good choices for growth, or, hey, this is costing too much, let's look at a different vendor, before you find out that it's cost you, way too much, those types of things, right? From a merchant services perspective, right? The payments, the getting, information or receiving money from your clients, with QuickBooks Merchant Services, you actually get paid twice as fast for free, and on average, 15 days faster. So if you send someone an invoice, or you mail them an invoice, and you wait for them to, cut a check and mail it back to you, and then you wait for snail mail, and then you go to the bank and you deposit, and there's usually a 1 or 2 day hold on the deposit if it's a decent amount, that type of stuff. You'll see that from a cash flow perspective, that can be very taxing on a small business. Well, with merchant services, you can email them a link with a little Pay Now button on it. They can click on the Pay Now button. They can enter in their checking account and routing information, and you'd receive the money within 2 to 3 days. So it really speeds up the accounts receivable and your cash flow for the business. So very valuable add-on there too. And then another aspect that, using your smartphone, that type of stuff in QuickBooks Online is QuickBooks Online has the receipt or the snap receipt feature. So what this is you can actually, you go to Staples and you buy some office supplies. While you're walking out to the truck, or once you get back into your car or truck, you can pull out the receipt, pull out your smartphone, open up the QuickBooks app, use the QuickBooks app to take a picture of the receipt, and QuickBooks will try to what they call OCR, or read the text on the receipt, and automatically enter in the expenses right on your phone. And it also saves a copy of the receipt picture into your QuickBooks. So another way that it just reduces data entry, that type of stuff, right? It'll read the line items, what the total expense was, how it paid for it. So you can enter an expense within, 30 seconds by just taking a picture of the receipt. So very time consuming, or what used to be very time consuming. A lot of people would, stack up all their receipts, hand them to the accounts payable clerk, lose receipts, those types of things, now is virtually eliminated. So more accurate bookkeeping, more timely, those types of things. Less paperwork. Yes.
We had one question. What if QuickBooks Online doesn't match up the correct account automatically? Can you edit it? Can you flex it?
Yeah, so you know how I was saying it becomes more of a review and approve than data entry? So the things will still come in, and they'll still come in to be reconciled, right? So if you see Verizon Wireless come in as a transaction, when you go to reconcile your account once a week, once a month, however you do it, you would still have to review the transaction, make sure it's posting to the correct debit and credit accounts on your general ledger, and then approve it. So you can edit each one individually, right? And as you do it, it'll say, do you want to save this for future? Right? So if you change Verizon Wireless from, utilities internet to utility cell phone, it's going to ask you if you want to use that account in the future.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? I know I'm kind of going through things fast. I just want to be cognitive of everyone's time. All right. So, back to this receipt capture thing. So by keeping these receipts, you guys, the small business on average, medium business saves about $8,000 in deductions because they aren't missing anything, right? Everything's getting entered into QuickBooks either by a bank feed, by taking a snapshot of the receipt because someone used cash out of petty cash, or those types of things. So it becomes a much more accurate bookkeeping by using said automation as well. All right, moving on. Mileage tracking. This is one of our most requested tools, and we launched it a couple of months ago. So now with the app on your phone, you can actually start doing mileage tracking. So when you get in your truck, you can open up the app, you can turn on the mileage tracking and then drive around all day, and then it's going to ask you, okay, was this business, was this personal, was this lunch, that type of stuff. And then it'll have it in there for your tax write-off at the end of the year, right? And what's really good is when it says no drain on your battery, that's because your phone, typically your location's already on, and it's just keeping all that. You don't have to have the app up and running, right? Once again, this goes back to a zero data entry. A zero data entry, so you guys can have a mileage log without you needing to key anything in, right? And it becomes a review of the log and make sure that it's correct, but it really cuts down on the hours and the time. All right. Another key benefit for you guys is the ability to integrate other applications, right? Whether it's your CRM, your guys' point of sale systems, your credit card vendor, if you use ADP for payroll versus QuickBooks, you can integrate it. So since most of the other technology and softwares out there are cloud-based, they all speak the same language and they can talk to each other, right? Now within United Servicers, there's a little bit less of this, but since convention, I've actually been working with 3 or 4 other partners that are building integration with QuickBooks. So over time, this is going to become more and more convenient for you guys, specifically with the different CRM softwares and field service that you have. All right. And then this just talks about QuickBooks Online, right? You kind of create your dashboard. Yeah, you can access QuickBooks wherever you want from everything. Another key advantage to cloud-based is not only your access from any device, but also your ability to collaborate with anyone in the world. If you have an outsourced bookkeeping person in India, or you're in New York, but your bookkeeper is in Missouri, those types of things. So it really opens it up for you guys to be able to collaborate real time with anyone in the world, that type of thing. Any computer, any device for them. So here, there's some big gains here from QuickBooks Desktop in that if you guys have used QuickBooks Desktop for years, every tax season, you have to create a accountant copy of your file, try and email it, or use an FTP server to get it to your accountant, and then you're kind of locked out of making edits on that type of stuff, everything like that. So this has really become much more efficient around tax time and collaborating with your accountant bookkeepers.
Chadwick, we have another question.
Yeah.
How many businesses can QuickBooks Online track per online download?
So QuickBooks Online is a little different than QuickBooks Desktop in this aspect. QuickBooks Online accounts are EIN specific. right? So for every business entity or EIN that you would have a separate QuickBooks Online account, if you will. Now, with that being said, you can have as many QuickBooks Online accounts as you want. So if you're an entrepreneur that has 5 or 6 different businesses, you can have 5 or 6 different accounts, and we do have special pricing for people in that circumstance where there's a multi-unit pack that, you know, hey, I have 5 entities or I have 4 entities, you know, that type of stuff. So we do have pricing available for those guys. So this is where it's a little bit different than QuickBooks Desktop. QuickBooks Desktop is an application that you buy and you install on your computer, and you can run as much data through it as your hard drive will hold. And I always use, you know, Microsoft Word as an example of this, right? You buy Microsoft Word as a software, you can create as many Word documents as your hard drive can hold. QuickBooks functions the same way from a desktop perspective. Right, with QuickBooks Online, it's, you know, EIN specific. So each entity needs its own account. Does that answer your question?
If he has another one, I'll ask for you.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is where we get into the structures of the different plans. Right, so there's 3 versions of QuickBooks Online that work really well, depending on, you know, your servicing, servicers, company structure. You know, are you tracking a lot of inventory? If so, you'd want Plus or Advanced. If you are, you know, a smaller and everything is drop shipped, or you're ordering parts as they're needed, essentials. If you're a very large company and you're doing, you know, lots and lots of different things and you need some very specific kind of reporting and all of those, advanced might be the better option. And what I would recommend for anybody looking to make the change is we'll get to how to connect with me and schedule an appointment so we can have kind of a consultation and figure out which version is correct for you. And moving on, this is our time tracking, right, punch clock system, so that you can get signed up, have your employees clock in, clock it out. We now offer this as a standalone service, as well as it is now integrated into our payroll service. So you can do it as if you're using, you know, your accountant for bookkeeping, you can still sign up for QuickBooks T-Sheets or as part of our payroll. And this is what our payroll lineups look like, right? We have the core payroll, which does not include the time tracking and the punch clock system. Then we have the premium payroll that includes the punch clock system, as well as you get an HR support library. You get an export setup review, and once someone does the review, you get a tax penalty guarantee, those types of things. And then we have the Elite, which has an Elite onboarding. You get an upgraded time tracking that includes the ability to geofence punch clocks, which means you can give your employees the ability to clock in and clock out on a phone, but only if they're within, you know, 50 meters of this GPS location, right? So if they're going out to a job, you can make sure they can only clock in if they're on site at the job, those types of things. So lots of different options. You know, you guys it can be customized per entity. You know, are you 5 employees? Do I need, you know, job costing, those types of things. And then here's our merchant services, right? We talked about this a little bit earlier, you know, the ability to accept credit cards and get paid very quickly. Now, a lot of times merchant services are wrapped into your guys' field service or your CRM software. This can just be another alternative for you guys to invoice out of QuickBooks, those types of things. And then this is the end of my presentation about QuickBooks. This is how to get a hold of me, right? So you guys may want to write down that intuit.me/United Servicers. That's the partner website that we've created with your guys' association. You can go to that website, you can review pricing, you can review the different products, you can schedule a consultation with me, my email address and phone number on that website as well. So that's your, point of reference for all things Intuit, if you will, or QuickBooks. Now let's go ahead and open it up for anybody that has some questions, either around, some specific how it impacts you guys, or general questions around QuickBooks. We'll go ahead and open it up for the last, 10, 15 minutes and answer some questions. And I don't know, Sarah, if you want to maybe unmute everyone to where they could verbally ask their questions, or if we still want to just continue doing it through chat.
Let me see. I think I unmuted. I think everyone is unmuted.
Can everyone hear us?
Yeah, it says they can request to speak, so all they have to do is hit speak. So maybe no one has questions?
I mean, I'll take that as I did a really good job presenting.
Well, I'll wrap it up. The video of the webinar will be available to replay for all members. And if you join today, you'll get a link too, so you can rewatch it. And then Chadwick, if you want to, reach out, we can, or we can just see if people have any questions and touch base soon.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, let's give it a few more, seconds to see if anybody has any lingering questions.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like we're good.
I think we're good. And if anyone reaches out to me, I'll forward it to you, and then, or if they don't write down your email address, we'll make sure that if you guys have questions, they're answered.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I know that was a lot of information in a short period of time. If you do have any, specific questions that you want to ask me, you can email it or schedule a consultation. I'm always available to go over and, how some of the stuff could directly benefit your business.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody, and have a good weekend. Thanks, Chadwick.
You're welcome.